Hello, hello. Good
Good
morning.
morning, everybody.
How are you guys doing on Monday morning?
Happy Monday.
Hi, Eric.
Hi, Sukru. How are you, brother?
I am okay. I'm okay. Yeah. Some people know that I was kind of down yesterday. I'm actually feeling much better. And so Eric and I, before he came on, we were just a little bit late because we were like we were having heated conversation about visual that Eric's going to. You gonna talk about it a little?
Yeah, why not? So 8 years ago today, there was a gentleman named Alex Nieto who was a security guard at a very popular gay club in the Mission, known as Rio. And so Rio is kind of at the intersection of the Mission and a neighborhood we know as Bernal Heights. And Bernal Heights is a big hill pretty much. And so he was up on Bernal Hill waiting for his shift to begin as a security guard. And I think he was like eating something, like he was eating. And I'm not familiar with all of the details. And I honestly don't really want to get into it because this is something that kind of like I remember this happening. Um, 59 shots were ended up being shot into him, and it was like they said they claimed that his taser that he was that he had all the rights to have as a security guard. They claimed that he pointed it at them, which I'm not sure how. Still, even if we go with what I believe is a lie, I don't think that's true at all. Even if we go
Mhm.
with that narrative, I'm not sure how that was deserving of 59 shots. um
Oh.
like execution style. So when he passed away, he was the same age that I am now, and it is not lost on me. I grew up like less than 2 miles away from where this happened, and
God.
it's not lost on me that this could have been me. This could have been one of my brothers. This could have been one of my primos. This could have been one of my tios.
Mm.
um and the other and as if to add insult to injury, nobody has been charged in this, and it's been 8 years.
Oh my God. God.
So one last thing that I like to throw in is that I give a tour in the Mission. I give a food tour, and there's lots of artwork in the Mission. And in one of the pieces, there's a candle with Alex Nieto's name. Um, I can't continue the tour without letting my guests know who he was, and without I don't tell the story, but it would be remiss of me. I feel like it would
Mm.
be irresponsible of me to give this tour without without telling my guests who he was and his story. So
Mhm,
that's
mhm.
that's what's happening. It's happening at 5 o'clock tonight if you're in San Francisco on Bernal Hill. um, I will be there with Shahid Buttar, the next
Yeah, yeah.
congressman from San Francisco. So if you're able to come out and join us in solidarity and in demanding some kind of accountability.
Thank you so much for doing that. It's so important. And I just got kind of very passionate talking about this because yeah, so the like I guess a little bit of details, but so the people who call the cops on this guy, uh, the reason was because he was wearing gang colors. Now, I heard that conversation a lot because back in college, I used to live in the Mission, heart of Mission. So we talked about these things, but I mean, that's no reason whatsoever to call the cops on anyone at all. I
And
just,
mind you, he was wearing a 49er
yeah,
jacket.
right, right. I mean,
He had like a Giants hat on, and that's what they were saying was gang colors. Like, come on. He was Latino in the wrong place. That's what it
right,
was.
right, right. Yeah, yeah. And I used to work with at risk youth in the mission, and some of them were in the gang, but there's a reason for that because sometimes like when you're a recent immigrant, that's the only way of protection. You
Yeah.
want protection from from okay, frankly, other groups of so within the immigrant community, there are afflictions. So sometimes, people want to protect themselves by joining a gang because that's the
Mhm.
only way. That's the only people who would protect you, against everything else. So anyway, yeah, I just get so upset because, when people talk about gangs, I'm not saying it's great to join a gang. Okay, it's no, because there's a lot of violence, but you can't be like simply saying that, oh, these are bad people.
One more thing that I'd like to throw in before we get started with the news is that, well, first of all, this gang activity is not something that only happens in Latino culture. It happens also in Asian culture. It also happens it happens like Sukru was saying, immigrant culture and then lots of different minority communities. But also, sometimes people do not have the choice. Sometimes the gang activity is in their family, and once they come of age, they're expected to also then join the gang. I had a friend who had to move to the East Coast to escape the gang activity that he was expected to join once he reached a certain age here in San Francisco. So, quick little
Hmm.
lesson about why people choose to do these things. It's not always what it seems, what it appears.
Right, right. Okay. All right. Oh, hi. Someone's Jonathan. Happy birthday. Okay, I just wanted to say.
Thanks,
Yeah,
Jonathan.
just pointing out comments. I'm just gonna post it. Yeah.
Oh, I was
Hi,
like, "How come I
Jonathan.
can't see the
Happy
comments?" Oh my
birthday.
god, happy birthday.
All right. So I'm just going to put the slides up. Let me see. All right. So Monday news. We're gonna start with Amazon. Okay. Amazon getting away with breaking a law again. Well, what we define as breaking the law, and I guess obviously they are dismissed. So some people think it's perfectly legal to do this, but so let me tell you, I was in my previous life. I was a business consultant, business researcher. I followed Amazon for 21 years, and this is not the first thing that they were that they have done, and they continue to do very, very questionable business practices, and they always get away with it. um so basically, so this particular thing that they're talking about, I'm just gonna read it. So Amazon, this is like what the prosecutors are saying, but Amazon has made online shopping more expensive for consumers through its anti-competitive agreements that prevent sellers from offering lower prices on and to competing online marketplaces. The district said in its response. These agreements curtail competition, resulting in higher prices, lower innovation, and fewer choices for consumers. Until 2019, Amazon explicitly prohibited US sellers from offering their products at a lower price or better terms elsewhere online, the lawsuit says. Amazon removed the policy but replaced it with a new fair pricing policy that was an effectively identical substitute, the lawsuit says. The fair pricing policy allows sellers to set their own prices, according to Amazon. The company also monitors prices elsewhere on the web. If a seller offers a product on Amazon for a higher price than listed elsewhere, Amazon might not feature that seller's offer. So, effectively preventing its sellers from offering lower prices, elsewhere. Um,
This is just a whole there's just so many things to unpack here
mm,
concerning Amazon. I am not a fan of Amazon. I think that I would never in my life ever stand in the same room with Amazon CEO. Some people worship the guy. I think he is the most evil person on the planet, and I would never stand anywhere near him. I think Amazon is a really good example of why it's so dangerous for these companies to get so big to the point where they're writing the rules, they're preventing their workers from unionizing, but
Mhm.
also they're now preventing what you would think makes Amazon a little more equal, that sellers can offer their products on there. Well, no, Amazon's saying you have to do it our way.
Mhm. Mhm.
Um, and that it just means more money in Bezos' pocket,
Mhm.
less money in the pockets of the sellers and the working class, and it means that they get to call the shots, because I can almost guarantee you that they lobbied hard to instill the people that ended up making this decision. They probably handpicked them.
Yeah, yeah, they spent a lot on lobbying, of course. And I mean, okay, so here is like, every time this anti-competitive practices come up, uh Amazon's excuse has been consistent. They always say things like, "Oh, this is a standard retail practice." Okay, sadly, some of the things that they're talking about is true. Because if you look at companies like Walmart, like way back when there was no internet, like
Right.
Walmart always existed, and they have done similar things, right? Um, really like basically like threatening their sellers to offer cheaper, prices. They've done that, although it was not in a marketplace format because they were like a retail, traditional retail model. So what they were doing back then was just to, threaten sellers to offer them, better wholesale prices so that they can sell it cheaply, right? So it was not like on the marketplace, but you know, they've done similar things, but the one thing that we don't realize and we should look at is that how powerful Amazon has gotten.
Mhm.
I mean, basically, a lot of small businesses nowadays, they cannot afford not to sell on Amazon.
Yeah.
They have to sell on Amazon because like um one third one third of online commerce has done is being done on Amazon platform. So you cannot, yeah, one third. So you cannot afford not to sell on Amazon. So their hands are tied, the small businesses. So if you look at that, it's like you can see like how unfair that they're being, and how sort of like a interpretation of law has to change. You know, yeah, so I mean, another thing I just wanted to point out, because like there are so many things that they do that uh that are not talked about enough. Like um so Amazon makes a lot of like what we call private label products nowadays, because that's what retailers have done, right? Like any retailers actually, I mean, in the last like 3 decades or so, their focus has been like developing their own private brands, because that's the higher margin. It's like that's the
Right.
way for them to make money. But what Amazon does, because they are marketplace, they have like all sorts of like sales data on their third party sellers, so they know exactly what's selling.
They know how
So
many sales per the second. Sorry, not to interrupt you. Like, it's insane, the data that Amazon tracks. They know exactly how much they're expected to make every second.
right,
Sorry,
yeah,
go ahead.
yeah, no, I mean, you were right. So so as soon as Amazon finds out like what's selling, they make their own private brand product that's like very very similar to that product. I mean, effectively just like killing the competition.
Mhm.
And they do that constantly, they do that all the time. They do worse things that I wouldn't mention here because I'll run out of time. But anyway, that's like for another time. We have to do Amazon special, one of these
Yeah.
days. But yeah, so Oh, hi, Lisa. Lisa's here. Lisa Theobald.
Yay, hi Lisa. Why am I not
Hi.
seeing the comments? Or the
Oh, let me just.
weird how I'm not.
Oh, wait. Oh, wait.
Oh, I got it set to private chat. Oh.
It's like a comments. The.
Okay,
Okay,
let me see if
so.
they'll come up now.
Oh, wait. I'm just skipping ahead. All
Yeah,
right.
don't give away our whole.
There are a lot of like chats going on, like greetings. Okay,
Oh,
so
okay.
let's talk about San Francisco here, Eric. So I mean, the thing is though, I don't know like what other states, I mean the situation in other states, but I guess next month, right, in April, um, the um, the protection the that was effective during COVID is expiring. Yes, in the state of California, so a lot of people are expected on the expected to be evicted in the worst cases. Um, and the situation is not, I mean, it's bad already. It's bad in LA. It's like getting worse. Like you can visibly see like down on La Cienega, like because I live in West Hollywood, and like okay, so I well, sorry, I apologize in advance because like whoever is not local won't really get this, but I was just trying to
But that's
explain it
one of
as
the
much as
main
possible.
strips in LA, La
Yeah, and
Cienega.
Beverly Center. Okay, Beverly Center is like this fancy shopping mall, that's been there like forever. So like that area, you don't really expect to see, you know, tents, right? There are tents there now.
No kidding.
So many tents.
By the Beverly Center?
Yeah, there's this fancy hotel called Sofitel. Do you remember that Sofitel?
Yeah,
I
yeah,
don't
yeah, yeah,
remember
yeah.
like which corner. Right across from them, there are tents. There are people who are living in tents, and all these like people in a fancy clothes and all that, like walk by, like I mean, as if like they don't see them, right? It's getting really bad here in LA. I mean, it was bad already, but anyway, um,
So last week we talked about the vacant home. Was it last week we talked about the vacant homes tax?
I
Right?
guess so. Yeah, I
I believe
realized
it
that
was
actually.
last week. Yeah, no, and I just wanted to make the clarification. The
Mm,
difference between the vacant home tax, which is, I believe there's an estimated 40,000 empty homes in San Francisco, and the Board of Supervisors wants to pass an empty homes tax where you are in fact taxed for having just an empty house sitting, whereas the situation now is that they are empty because the landowners can write that off as a loss and it's better for them tax wise than rent it at an affordable rate. So that's last week. What we're talking about now is that San Francisco Department of Homelessness has a budget of almost $600 million, and people have to wait months or years sometimes to be approved for housing. But the thing is, the housing is there, the housing is built, and it's unlike, like I said, the issue with the vacancy tax. These homes are specifically to provide housing for people who are experiencing homelessness. It's specifically for them. So it really begs the question: if that's what these homes are for, they're perfectly good units. That's what they were built for. Why on earth are they sitting empty when we have this huge homelessness crisis here in San Francisco? Um, I mention it all the time. I'm a tour guide, and the thing is, I walk everywhere in San Francisco. It's a very walkable city. Every once in a while, I'll hop on a bus, but usually, I'm impatient. I'm walking all around San Francisco, right? Every single day, I swear, you find a new homeless encampment. And the thing is, you can't just say that these people are on the street because they're addicted to drugs. Like, you can no longer say that. I have seen with my own two eyes women in like a full suit with a full
mm,
face of makeup, just got out of work, and then they're sitting on the corner next to their tent.
yeah.
I have had this happen to people from that I went to high school with. I experienced homelessness actually for some time last year. Like,
Mm-hmm.
it's such an insanely expensive city that this happens, but not all, but all the factors that go into, renting a place, right?
Mm-hmm.
And there's no incentive for any landlords to offer, affordable rate. Why? When there's no shortage of people willing to pay the astronomical prices that you can get for rent here in San Francisco.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
So Lisa was,
what are
Lisa's
they?
question for us, like, what are they doing that it takes so long?
That's a
Because
really
you
good
were mentioning
question.
that like people
Yeah.
wait for months.
I think the short answer is red tape. Um, okay, like there's so many different factors that go into this, and I know, okay, for example, one of the factors is that every once in a while they will have a lottery, right? Like they'll open up one of these units, people, they go and submit their names, fingers crossed they get picked. They are so hush hush about these things that that you already have to kind of be in the know. So I actually, when I first moved back to San Francisco, I got on the lottery for one of these cheaper housing, and my friend told me that I probably wouldn't get it because they give priority to people who have kids. If
Mm-hmm.
I remember correctly, 3 times as many people signed up to be on the wait list as there were spots for.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so I mean, tons more people that need housing than me. More tons of people that are a higher priority than me. But that is on it. That is actually a very good question.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I have a friend who I work with who he believes that they really don't want to house people. That for whatever reason, there's a conspiracy that they actually so with a lot of the building efforts, right? Like the longer you can keep a construction project going, the more money you're dumping into it, the more time it takes, right? And the more people are getting wealthy because of it. That's one small factor. It's it's incredibly frustrating, to put it lightly.
Mm-hmm.
But honestly, I don't know the full answer to that. Do you know that, Do you know, Sukru? Or based on what the article, let's go back to what the article was saying.
Um,
Okay, no, one more thing. So here's another thing. The list of requirements that they need and all of the little steps that it takes, that's what puts people on these wait lists forever.
mm,
Like oftentimes they need to be employed. How the hell do you have a job if you can't get mail? If you don't have a house to live in, how are you supposed to get a job? So
mm,
that's one thing. Oftentimes people, and not all the time, but I know that a lot of times they make requirements of people, like they have to be attending drug rehabilitation things. Like there's all these little factors that go into, it's not easy. They don't make it
mm.
easy. They put all these little factors in that makes people sit on this wait list for quite some time.
Right, right, right. Yeah, yeah, yeah. I mean, that's probably good enough. I mean, it's like better explanation than I can offer. I don't really know like why it takes so long. I mean, other than it's like bureaucracy that you've been mentioning. Um, and I mean, I know that like people are like kind of probably like people, especially tuning in right now, are kind of tired of hearing this because I know it's everywhere. But like recently in LA too, like there was a sweep in Little Tokyo because there was this like big like really huge encampment in the area called Eco Park of LA, and last year there was like really really huge sweep. And then Little Tokyo was kind of like a major encampment after that. And people in the community were making an effort to like feed homeless, the house population and also like provide supplies and stuff like that. But there was a sweep last week, and people in the community were out once again and to um, to protest because like legally, and I mean I hope like I can't do that right now, but there was this like kind of a short clip, local independent like journalist was out there interviewing like the police, who was there, because legally, when they were doing the sweep, they have to provide people alternative, like
Place to go.
housing, like alternative, like so that they can go somewhere. They're just not kicking it, not kicking them out of one place, so that like they have to like find their own way. They have to provide them an alternative, but they haven't done that. The houseless who were there say like they were offered no alternative whatsoever. They were just kicking them out. So I don't know, like I don't know what's going on. It's just like kind of, I guess, same story all over again. But like the cities, like San Francisco, cities like LA are just um removing people essentially, like because they don't want them there without offering any alternatives. So
But meanwhile, they're pumping all this money into the police department.
right.
Exactly. Yeah, real that's exactly it. The current system was never meant to handle the current need. Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
Exactly. Yeah.
That's true.
An
Yep,
employer
Lisa's
won't
absolutely right.
hire an employee if they know they are homeless. Absolutely.
Mm-hmm. And by the same token, what Eric, you were saying was true. I mean, bunch of people actually, like bunch of homeless people work too. Like they, like they
Yeah.
may live in their cars, but like they just like
Right.
they take. I mean, I've known people. They okay during the COVID, it got kind of tricky. But I mean, they may have like gym membership, like cheap gym membership, so that like they can go in and take
Mhm.
showers, but then they
Mhm.
sleep in their cars.
Yep.
I've known these people because things were getting bad before COVID already in LA. You know, so
I used to sleep in my car all the time.
yeah,
When
there
you're
you go.
6'4" and you're sleeping in the trunk of a Prius, it's not a pretty picture. Let me just put it that way.
Yeah, yeah, no, I believe that. Yeah, yeah. Anyhow, so oh wait, slide. Oh, okay, okay. So let me just move on to another subject. Okay, let's see. Oh, okay. So I just wanted to bring up before I move on to another
I
subject.
believe it.
Yeah.
40% of homeless are employed. I believe it.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I believe that too.
Because they're like we were saying, they're not always on the street. A lot of them live out of their cars. A
Right.
lot. And
Right.
then sometimes they go and sleep at the airport. That's what I used to
Mm,
do.
actually, okay. I used to know the figure, but okay. So university students in California, though, in UC,
Oh
and
god.
the state university system. What was the figure? It's like a horrendous number of
Yeah,
students are
of
homeless.
homeless
Actually,
students. That was a problem when I was in undergrad. Yeah,
yeah,
at
horrendous
UCLA.
amount. Yeah, I forgot the percentage, but I mean, yeah, yeah, lot of students are homeless. So, oh yeah, see, there you go. Jimmy's saying like every time, yeah, see,
Yeah.
yep, yeah. So it's like we have to really kind of kill this narrative that like because people say things like, oh, homeless people, like they don't work, they are lazy,
Yeah,
not true, not
that's
true.
true.
Plenty of people. I mean, okay, I could have been homeless right now. I was lucky enough to have this place because a friend of mine had to go to Japan temporarily, and she was nice enough to offer like cheap rent. But without this, I'll be on the street right now. So yeah. Anyhow, all right. So I wanted to talk about I went to a rally in Orange County this weekend, this last Saturday. And so I just wanted to talk about that. So Eric found this old photo. Nice of him. Thank you so much, Eric. This is the site that I'm talking about today. This was the picture. Was this Japanese a farm, I guess, in Orange County, in Huntington Beach, to be exact. And this farm, it's not farm anymore, but yeah, this place has existed ever since 1910. So it's actually a very historic building, and it was actually designated as a, you know, what's the word for it? Like national
Historic
historic
site.
Site, to be preserved, because it's like it's one of the one of it was like designated like one of 10 like most like at risk site, but should be preserved, because it's historically very significant in Japanese American history. But anyhow, so this was this is an historic site in Orange County. There was a fire on February 25th of this year, which damaged one of the buildings, one of the 6 buildings on the site. And so the wall of one wall of one building was damaged. So the fire department and police department, their explanation was like, okay, so we have to take down one wall, because so that the fire won't spread out, right? So immediately after the fire, the bulldozer came, and it demolished not one building but 2. And we don't know why. The community does not know why, because the explanation of yeah, I mean, one undamaged building was demolished along with the damaged one, and no explanation was given for that. And also, like, it's really people in the community like myself, have been like talking about this, because this site, as I said, it's a historic, it's a historic site, but it's owned by a private company next door, which is like very strange. This company is a
That's
um,
fishy.
right. It's a trash processing company. They collect trash and they just process it on site, and they own this land, and they've been neglecting to take care of it. So it's the buildings are really in a bad shape, and they want to sell it, actually, sell the site and sell the buildings, um, to make a storage facility, on the site. Uh, and so, a lot of people actually suspecting that, okay, maybe the fire wasn't an accident. Maybe it was just intentionally set so that, now they can say, oh, it's burnt down. There's like no historical value, on the side of the building. So, makes it easier to sell. And so that's why the community is saying that, we want answers, we want an investigation. But the fire department and police department are saying that, oh, no, the case is closed because we found no evidence of, foul play. But I mean, as I said, the evidence was effectively destroyed, right after the incident, because they bulldozed the building and demolished 2 buildings. That was essentially the evidence. So
So, Sukru, as of now, they have wiped out 2 buildings and there's no plans to replace these buildings.
not right now, not right
Wow.
now.
You know what this reminds me of? I'm going out on a limb here, but I think that we're in good company. This reminds me of after 9/11 when they started shipping all the rubble to China. Does anybody remember that?
Hmm.
All the rubble at the when the towers came down, they quickly started shipping all the rubble. They got rid of all the rubble and shipped it off to China.
Hmm.
Wow.
Why China though? Do you know? I mean, sorry, maybe I'm just stuck in the wrong part, but wrong part of the story. But
That's a good question. I've never thought of that. My whole thought process was they got it the F out of the US.
hmm,
I'm
hmm.
not sure why China, actually.
Wow. Okay.
Um,
Weird.
but
Hmm.
yeah, not to go down that rabbit hole. Um,
Yeah. Yeah. But anyway,
so
I mean, I was out on the protest.
mm,
Well, Orange County is kind of like very, very far from where I am, and I don't own a car right now. But I just felt like, as a part of a Japanese American community, I just, really cannot possibly sit out of this. So I went, and there were about 100 people out. Not only Japanese American, but part of like Asian community, Asian American community, and also like other people, black people, Latinos were out like in solidarity. So um but the thing is though, like, so Orange County has seen a spike, huge spike in hate crimes against Asians ever since COVID. And it's actually a horrendous percentage, something like 1,000 some. And I don't really know, it's like over year or like in what time frame, but it's been just really really bad there. So we were actually afraid that there may be confrontations, maybe like Proud Boys would show up and whatnot, but no, there was no disturbance at the site of the rally. But um, let me actually play a little bit of video for you. PANA, Progressive Asian Network for Action, and SOS, Save Our Seniors, that came out of PANA. They were the one of the hosts of this organizers for this rally, and my friend Reggie Wong, one of the organizers, spoke at this event, and she really describes what our message, what our demands are, and what the situation is. So actually, let me just switch to YouTube video, because somehow this, oh sorry, somehow this
oh
is not
no,
playing.
don't look at that.
Yeah, sorry about that. Hold on. So share screen.
I'm over here trying to cover the screen as if that's gonna do anything.
All right. So oh wait, do you have sound or no?
I can hear it.
Oh,
Yeah, I can hear the audio. I can't see anything though.
okay. Hold on. Let's see.
But I'm so glad you were able to make this rally.
Yeah, I know.
So
I
cool.
was too. Let's see, share screen.
Because Orange County, that's like on the way to San Diego.
Yep.
Yeah, right. That's like in between San Diego and LA, if I understand right.
Yep. All right.
Last year, anti-Asian hate crimes jumped up to 339% nationwide. And here, you'll see, hate incidents in general shot up by 69% in 2020. More than half of those incidents were anti-Asian. We've seen attacks not just against Asian people, but against our houses of worship, from Southern California to Seattle, Arkansas, and even Calgary, Canada. In Orange County, 6 Buddhist temples were vandalized and people verbally harassed in November and December of 2020. Then we got people opposing ethnic studies in K-12 schools because they think it's critical race theory, which is taught in colleges. So with all this going on, it makes you wonder if the fire was intentionally set and why. Destroying this church would be a way to erase Asians from local history. It'd be another blow to Japanese Americans who were thrown into internment camps during World War II. But even though a lot of Japanese Americans fought for this country, can I hear for the 442nd? Japanese Americans remained scapegoats in the 80s. But you know what? Nothing new. We've been omitted from history books before. We've been reduced to the enemy or the minority line to serve the status other groups. That's why Neighborhood Safety Companions joined the call for a third-party investigation into the cause of the fire. We want to preserve the church so future generations will know how the Japanese American community persisted despite discrimination. Our group takes on anti-Asian hate by patrolling Koreatown to help prevent crime. And we work on a community-based model that is an alternative to police and addresses problems that are causing violence, such as meeting everyone's basic needs. But to treat social ills, it's essentially a solidarity with the Black and brown communities. What's often left out of history books is how we've resisted white supremacy alongside the Black and brown communities, our Black and brown brothers and sisters and non-binary folks. We've been resisting ever since we got here and even before in our home country. Our people have got to stop believing the model minority lie that it's not in our nature to.
All right. I don't know if you guys were able to hear it. I mean, did you hear it okay, Eric?
I was able to. Well, let's ask the audience. Were you folks able to hear the audio?
Yeah.
She spoke very well. Oh my god, I was getting chills.
Yeah. No, Reggie's great. Yeah. So I mean, yeah, it's she's right though. I mean, it's like one of these, the efforts that they're trying to erase the history, because out of sight, out of mind, right? So I mean, to some, this is just old buildings. I mean, I know, like, some people look at these buildings as like just old buildings, who are in a which are in a very, very bad condition. But I mean, to Japanese Americans, it's a very, very important part of history, because it was a settlement, before the war. People lived there. People who lived there were interned during World War II, and their property, their land, was stripped from them. So that's why it's so significant. It's important to preserve these sites. So yeah, I mean, the fire, arson, it's violent as well, but it's just a mere fact of it's been neglected, and also like it's the I mean, it's kind of disheartening to see that like authorities are so they're just making a light of the situation. They don't really think so much about how important this is to the community, and they just don't they don't seem to think much about just like taking it, like demolishing it, and just taking it down, and that should be prevented.
I think they need to investigate that company.
I think so
That
too.
sounds very suspicious.
Mm-hmm.
But it's a private company.
Yeah.
Is there some kind of insurance payout? Sorry.
I don't know. I think the site itself, though, the land itself is valuable, because it's Huntington Beach, and
right, of course.
Yeah, I mean, it's away from the beach itself. I mean, it's kind of inland, but still it's close enough to the beach, and I'm sure the property value on that land is yeah.
I didn't even think about that.
It
all comes down to the money, doesn't it?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so we will keep, I mean, I will certainly keep following this. I mean, the Japanese community is very, very adamant to like take this matter to not only like a local politician, local court, but if necessary, we will take it to Congress, and like appeal to the federal level.
I'd like to add a little something. Here in San Francisco, Japantown is has a very, very vibrant and interesting history, and it's very intertwined with African American history, because the little area that is Japantown, which is in between Pacific Heights and the Western Addition, that at one point was the largest concentration of Japanese people in the entire country, if not
Mm.
outside of Japan. Um, and when they were interned, they wiped them all out, sent them all to internment camps, and then that was when Black people moved in um, during the Great Migration, when there were all the jobs in the shipyards during the Second World War. And during the pandemic, Japantown in particular, it's a very interesting, it's a very unique, I guess structure is the way you'd call it. Japantown is it's like a big indoor mall.
Mhm.
And during the pandemic, all of these small little businesses were shut, closed, were not allowed to operate. And I know that some of these places owe so much in back rent that if they were to pay it, they would never be able to pay it back.
Mm.
So just from here on the San Francisco side, I can see how the Japanese heritage of San Francisco is at risk. And I hope that the community continues to rally and continues to keep the pressure on this situation, what's going on at Huntington Beach, because I think you're absolutely, you hit the nail on the head. I didn't even think about that. The land is absolutely very valuable, Huntington Beach. And I'm sure that private company wants to do something else with the land at the cost of the history.
Mm, mm, mm.
You know.
Yeah. Actually, before I move on though, I mean, I just have to say, I mean, don't you just think that it's just so, I mean, it's really terribly fishy if you think about it. Because
Oh
this is
yeah.
a designated historic site.
Mhm.
And like, why was it sold to this company though? I mean, why do they own it? This private company. And it was like they were put in charge of this historic
Right.
site,
Right.
and they have like no expertise over preservation of historic sites. They are like, I mean, they're garbage processing company, right? Nothing wrong with that, but what I'm trying to say is like, one by one, they're private company. Why are they put in charge? Why were they put in charge of these historical buildings? And also, they have like no expertise whatsoever in preserving the buildings, and actually they have neglected, taking care of these buildings is so much that it's just like they're really in a very bad condition to begin with. So anyhow.
Once you reach a certain level of wealth, um, you start purchasing property. Like, does anybody know how much farmland Bill Gates owns? Like, he's buying up so huge tracts of land in the United States and around the world. McDonald's, you know where their money comes from? They have some of the most valuable real estate in the entire world. Think about everywhere in the world that you see a McDonald's, right? Times Square, Union Square, um, Beverly Center, Beverly Hills, right? They own all those properties, all that real estate. That's where McDonald's isn't making money off their burgers. I mean,
Right.
sure, they do.
I
But
mean,
the real
real estate.
value,
Yep. Mhm.
right, the real value of McDonald's is in all the real estate that they own. I'm sure Amazon holds, large amounts of real estate. But that is incredibly fishy.
Yeah, yeah.
Yep.
And Jimmy, yeah, thank you for the comments. I mean, those people's lands were all lost when the internment camps closed. Those people lost everything, business and homes. Yeah, that's right. Yeah, all the property was taken away from them. And again, actually, I wish I remember the percentage, but a lot of Japanese, JAs, Japanese Americans were farmers, and they're very very successful with like agricultural businesses.
Mhm.
So in California, a majority of crops actually were at the time were harvested, were grown in Japanese American farms. And so like when the internment happened, like these farms were taken away from them, and when they came back, they took no possession of them anymore because they were just given away, to other people. Yeah. So
Yeah, my grandma grew up, was a kid during the Great Depression. and she had a friend who was Japanese, and they were florists, so they had a huge farm of different kinds of flowers,
Mm.
and they were interned, and then but they ended up coming back. I don't think they ever got their land back though.
Right. Yeah.
Which I remember reading a book about this, and they talked about that they were Nisei, which is second generation, right?
Right.
Is that the far majority of these people that were being interned were as American as you and me,
Oh yeah.
like
Yep.
come on.
Yep. I know. Yeah. Anyway, yep. We can go into like the whole thing about that, but I will some other time, I guess. So the next. Okay, so
So to leave things on a bright and happy note, I'll tell a little story. So last week I was walking in the Marina district of San Francisco, which the best way to describe it, I describe it as like LA right in San Francisco. The Golden Gate Bridge is over there, the Palace of Fine Arts is over there. The people all have different shades of blonde hair and the same orange tans. That's the Marina in a nutshell. It's an interesting place. So I'm walking, minding my own business, just in a whole other world. And who do I see but this lady on the corner? And she had her table of books. Before I finish telling the story, I just wanted to say that, well, no, I'll just continue telling the story. Sorry, bear with me. All right. Look at this lady with all these wonderful books, and we get to talking, and I was like, "There's no way that I could continue walking without supporting her." And she had 4 different books, like what would the world be without Black people? What would the world be without Latinos? One that focused on like disability, like the main character was in a wheelchair. I forgot what the 4th one was, but like these books that just give like all this representation to different groups of people that like I honestly wish I had these books when I was a kid, when I was in elementary school. So we got to chatting a little bit. Obviously, we took a picture, and I had the inspiration based off of Erica to create this little community leader spotlight at the end of our news segment. So I asked Sukuru, I said, "Hey, can we dedicate, the last 5 or 10 minutes of the show to some local leader, and we can maybe switch off between San Francisco and LA?" So our inaugural community leader is Erica Burnell. She is a teacher in San Francisco native, and an author, an illustrator. So she does all the illustrations herself. So please, check out her website, www.ericamburnell.com. There's all her handles right here. She's on TikTok, Facebook, and Instagram. But even more so, even more awesome is that she has this program where she donates books back to schools. Like she has a program where you can purchase a book for donation. And I want to read the statistic right here at the very top, because it's something that I don't think people realize, something that I definitely took for granted. 61% of children from low-income communities grow up in homes without books. I think that that's something that, I always took for granted. I was very much encouraged to read because I wasn't allowed to watch TV growing up. One of the happiest days of my childhood was when our next door neighbor gave us her encyclopedia set because she bought a new one. So she gave us her old one. I was like, oh my God, I was like on cloud 9. But it's important to, get people to read. And but it's also what's going to help kids from different communities and from different, disadvantaged communities actually be interested in reading and learning is if they see people that look like themselves in the stuff that they're reading. So I love the work that Erica's doing. And there's a reason. And so back to how I described the neighborhood. Personally, I think that she had a lot of courage standing out there on the corner in the Marina. It's a very pretentious
very white.
place.
Yeah.
Exactly. So there's well, I won't say that, but the Marina, it's not the most diverse place. And she was out there, on the corner with her books. Her setup was very nice and professional. I know she also goes to Dolores Park. So I'm like, you know what? I'm here for it. Get out there, get your money, get your hustle. So Erica
Mm.
Burnell, folks, please
Wow.
check her
Okay,
out.
I'm just gonna bring up once again. Yeah. Yeah, so follow her. I don't know if you can see, but yeah, the Instagram at Erica M. Burnell. Facebook. Yeah.
Oh, it's Burrell. Okay, that N should be an R. Oh my
Oh,
goodness.
oh, oh,
That's
right.
okay. There's
Burrell.
no N. It's Burrell.
That's right.
Erica
It's
M.
it's
Burrell.
two R, huh? Two
Yeah.
R. Right,
Okay,
right.
I made a
Okay.
typo
So
at the top.
Erica and Burrell. Okay.
Burrrel.
Yep.
Yes.
Yep. Wow, she's remarkable.
Yeah, she also gives parenting advice. Like she does this really cool little like she does these little live segments, these little video segments where she gives parenting advice. So,
Mm.
you know,
Mm.
hey, support somebody out there doing the damn thing,
Yeah.
making things happen, creating a better tomorrow, a better future. I'm all here
Mm.
for it.
Mm. Yeah. 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 I mean, she does this like on all on her own, right?
Yeah. So I know that she
That's amazing.
partnered with like a friend to do some of the writing. But yeah, she's self-published.
Mm.
She does all the illustrations herself. Yeah. Yeah, yeah,
That's
yeah.
great. That's great. Yeah. I mean, okay. So I'm just like, um, I just feel that I have like so much respect for people who just go out there and do things on their own because I really believe that, okay, so organizational backing's great, but like don't wait for it. I'm a like really a believer of like doing everything grassroots and doing just like starting out on your own if necessary, even in a small scale, because I think if you want to get organizational backing, you may have to wait for a long time, and also you may sometimes have to compromise your values, right?
Yeah.
Or maybe not values, but like compromise, make
Yeah,
compromises in
absolutely.
some ways. So just like if you have some passion doing something for the world, for whatever, just go out and do it. Don't wait. Like life's too short to
Go to the
wait.
farmer's market. Go door to
Yep.
door, make it happen.
Oh, okay. So Jimmy, where are these videos? I could always use parenting advice.
So
Yeah,
go to her Instagram. Her Instagram underscore teach. We can go back to the
Yeah,
slide.
let's go back.
Underscore the teacher lady. That's more for her books, and I'm pretty sure the parenting advice is at Erica M. Burrell.
Hmm.
Yeah,
Great.
and she really goes in depth um in her videos about different segments of like different issues of parenting. And I was very impressed. I was very much just like led to her. Like she had a beautiful smile and these awesome books, obviously, but then that was just the first layer of just such a complex and such an accomplished person
Mm-hmm.
is what I came to find.
Yeah. So yeah, check out again Instagram at Erica M Barrel. E and M and B are in capital letters. Yeah, check it out. Yeah. Wow. Thank you so much, Eric. This
Yeah,
is great.
absolutely. Wow, the time flew by.
I know. I know. Yeah. Thank you guys for tuning in. And one shameless plug, tonight at 6 p.m. to 7 p.m. Pacific Standard Time and 9 to 10 Eastern is Project True, my show. I always invite really, exciting guests, and we talk about our own stories, like nothing added, nothing subtracted, like authentic stories about people. So thanks so
What
much.
does true stand for?
Oh, okay.
Oh, in the
It's
last 10 seconds.
yeah, it's like trans rights, unity, and empowerment.
Love that.
Yeah.
Love that.
Thank you.
On that note, have a wonderful week, everybody.
All
We'll see you
right.
next
Thank you
week.
so much, guys. And let's play outro.